As a child, for as long as I can remember, I was obsessed with being a grown-up. I can recall vividly the post-playground, post-nap carpet conversations in kindergarten, where we each were asked one simple question: what did we want to be when we grew up? Now, my peers had age-appropriate aspirations.
When I grow up, I would like to be a veterinarian.
But my 6-year-old self, in a loud, proud voice, yelled, a lawyer and President of the United States? But instead of a lawyer, I became a teacher. I'm still thinking about running for president. What's good, everybody? My name is Nicole Winsley, aka Natty Geek 78. I'm a teacher, instructional coach, curriculum developer, corny joke, and crushed ice enthusiast. And I'd like to welcome you to I'm Grown, the truth about life after high school. My mission with this series is simple: share with today's high schoolers and young millennials the real nitty-gritty, no cap about the ups and downs, the stress, the bills, the roller coaster that is adulting. Each episode, my guest and I will discuss various adulting wisdoms, nuggets, and some truths. You know, the things you wish somebody would have shared with you before you tossed that graduation cap. In this space, no topic is off limits. The question is, are you grown enough to handle it? Because class is officially in session.
To be the best version of yourself.
What's good, everybody? My name is Nicole Winsley, aka Natty Geek 78, and I want to welcome you to the premiere episode of I'm Grown, the real truth about life after high school. I want to welcome my very first guest, aka Boss Shy Ford.
Hey!
So before we get started and get into the topic of what we're discussing today, I want to talk a little bit about how we got here. So back in September, I believe, right, we were at a lovely catered dinner, Chipotle catered dinner.
Delicious.
Very delicious. The appetizers and the
chicken.
oh my goodness, and the beverages were the adult beverages were so tasty, so tasty, so tasty. The bartender was serving it up like
I made like 2 drinks.
toot your own horn, please. So we were sitting down after and just having some good time, adult conversation, just good conversation. And we were talking about what we can do to reach today's teens and also reach today's college students. And I shared with the group that I was starting a speaker series for my school called Adulting 101. And I wanted to bring in different speakers that they could just give their tried and true wisdoms about what adulting is, about the real truth about life after high school. Because when we were in high school, we just be like, I can't wait till I'm grown. But do you really know what it entails to be grown? Like the ins and outs, the pitfalls, the ups and downs, the successes and failures. I don't really think when people say I'm grown, they really understand what it means. And the students came to me wanting to have those questions. Some wanted to discuss generational wealth. Well, someone discussed when to date, when not to date, when to marry, when not to marry. If you were saving yourself. So many questions that they had, and I knew this would be a great platform because if they had questions, then other teams probably had questions too. So long story short, you reached out and said, I would love to help you with that. So I did typical Nicole. I procrastinated and put it off. That imposter syndrome, I will admit, got the best of me. But finally, I had another sister that was there that pushed me and gave me an accountability date.
That's good.
And so I reached out to you. You said, yeah, let's do it. And here we are. I'm grown.
Yes.
Episode. I put out the trailer. I got some positive feedback on that. Being the person that I am, not, but like someone told me, whoever was meant to see it was meant to see it.
Right.
So it doesn't matter how many views it didn't get or did not get. Whoever was meant to see it was meant to see it, just like this one will be too. So I'm standing on that. So, Miss Shy,
Yes.
go ahead and tell us about yourself. But first, in true I'm Grown, I'm starting a new I'm Grown tradition. You have to rep your school, starting with high school all the way to whatever colleges you want to represent. All right, so take it away.
Let's do it. I am from the great Goldsboro, North Carolina. Don't mess with me because I'm from Goldsboro. girl. Y'all know how that goes. And I graduated from Eastern Wayne High School in 2011. After that, I went to UNCG. I think the main thing that just gravitated me to UNCG's campus is I truly felt safe when I was there. And I always tell people, like, when you choose a college, choose a campus that you feel safe on.
Facts.
And I knew my mom felt safe leaving me there. So I went to UNCG for 4 years. I got my degree in history with secondary education licensure. I went on to be a teacher for 7 years. But within that 7 years, I really just felt the need to do more. I felt very stifled in my classroom. I felt like I had too many ideas that needed to get out and impact more people.
Facts.
So ultimately, I went on to grad school, got my master's, and I am currently got my master's from UNCG again.
Home of the Spartans.
Okay.
Spartan spirit.
Yes.
Home of the Spartans.
And I am currently an assistant principal of a great school here in Guilford County. So,
Nice,
yes.
nice. And this is your first year as an AP?
First year.
Wow.
Give me grace, like we always ask for children. Give me
Facts,
grace.
facts. So talk to me about Shy, the high schooler, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. Like, looking back, we often have our students as 9th graders write a letter to their senior selves. If you could do Marty McFly and go back to Eastern Wayne
Yes.
High School, like, and see yourself, like, what would be some commentary that you would speak on? So speak on Shy, the high schooler.
So Shy, the high schooler, was still different. I always say, even now in my adult life, I'm different. But as a high schooler, I was different and maybe just a little bit nervous to be that different. Because, it's back then, everybody had to look the same. Everybody had to wear their hair the same, dress, wear the same shoes, and so on. So I don't think I was as courageous to be who I really was deep down inside. So I would tell Shy, the high schooler, like, girl, do you.
Okay.
Like, just be you. And people will gravitate towards me just because I am who I am. So yeah, I was also the type of person that, like, tried different stuff. I was in band, I was in theater, I did track, but I just really feel like I wish I could have found something that I truly, truly, like, loved and would have stuck with that. Still don't know what that would have been, though.
So crazy how our trajectories are aligning. I was a total band geek all 4 years, both marching band in the fall and symphonic band. Shout out to One Ensemble, Freedom High School. And then also ran track for a day, but I ran. That mile killed me. Wasn't doing that again, but did theater arts as well. I think I found my niche. Or a place where I felt like I belonged-ish. Because like you, I was real different. So it was hard for me to fit in. I didn't fit in with my friends that I grew up with. Once in high school, I was really different from my look, how I acted, my thoughts, what I was. So always real different. But I found in speech and debate or forensics. So I did that, the dramatic interpretation. So it allowed me to be creatively extra. So I was like, wow, our trajectories really did like align like that. And same for educational wise. I got into teaching and I wanted to get into teacher leadership because I saw a need to mentor younger teachers and I felt that I could have more reach and more impact going into administration.
That's good.
So talk about your senior year and what, I know you said your mom said that you felt faced, but you wanted to what did you want to do in history? Like when you grew up, you wanted to be history, you wanted to what?
Definitely not.
So walk us through that.
So, like I said, I was a kid that tried everything, right? And when it literally came down, what do you want to be when you grow up? I wanted to be everything, like literally wanted to be everything. So there's a weird thing that I had with teaching, right? So I was the kid who played school, right, with Barbie dolls. I used to make my little own classroom seating charts on papers, and then this person's sitting here, this person's like, I literally used to do that as like a 6-7-year-old.
Wow.
So when I got to senior year, my mom was a teacher assistant at the time, and I was working in like her kindergarten classroom that she worked in, and it just felt like you have to be a teacher, you have to be a teacher. But because everybody was forcing me to be a teacher, I was just like, I don't think I really want to do teaching like that. So, crazy story, when I went to UNCG, my first major was accounting. Quickly switched that before school even started, because I was like, okay, let me stop running from this teacher thing that everybody's trying to push me toward. And then when UNCG officially started, my major was elementary education.
You want to teach the babies.
The babies. And that's because that's at the time, that's what I literally had the most experience in. Kindergarten classrooms. I had worked in maybe like some third grade classrooms also when I was in high school too. But yeah, so I did that elementary ed thing, and I remember having an argument with my mom because at the end of that first semester, I was like, I'm switching my major. Like, I don't want to do this elementary ed stuff. First of all, it was the math that took me out. The one math class that we had to teach kids how to do math, I was just like, yeah.
Because 2 plus 2 doesn't equal 4 in today's math. I don't. You gotta use fists and knuckles and
the
fingers.
lattice method.
Right, like the 4 boxes. It's just
so
yeah.
It was too much. So I had that struggle of switching my major. You know, my mom got upset, and it was then when I switched my major to history. And that was because as a elementary ed majors, we had to get a concentration. I enjoyed history, but let's be honest, my high school history teachers were horrible.
Oh, yes.
They all sucked. So there was no story of this history teacher inspiring me from high school, but it was one of my professors from UNCG. The entire time I went to UNCG in undergrad, I had 2 Black professors. And one of those 2 Black professors is who actually taught the first history class that I ever took. And I was just like, if she can tell the story like this, I can tell the story like this with my own twist and make it even more interesting for kids.
And put a little shot on it.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
yeah, high school was a whirlwind. It was that period of trying to figure out what do I really want to do, because back then people made it seem like if you don't choose now, you're going to be stuck in that job forever.
Wow.
And
so let's talk about that. Do you feel that counselors and teachers put a lot of pressure? Did you feel that pressure? Like you need to decide a career.
Yeah.
Like what do you want to do? What do you want to major in? Why do you think people pushed you the way you did? And as you can see, it had for a while there, it had the opposite effect because you said, I don't want to do this no more. Like, I want to do something else.
And I think so, and I feel like even back then, people saw that I was good with kids. So it was just like, yeah, let's kind of lead you towards this direction. And full disclaimer, I did have a high school counselor who refused to help me whatsoever get prepared for college. It was actually my friend's counselor who was that person that was just like, okay, well, you might be interested in teaching, so let's get you into teaching fellows. Let's get you these types of scholarships and so on.
Can we talk about the fact that we typically group students up with their school counselors by the last name of their alphabet and not by which counselor is suited personally? But you know what? That is another podcast.
I think this woman had a grudge against me and every person with my last name.
Oh, wow.
And it showed.
Once again, we're on the same trajectory. Like, so it was definitely, I had to find my person to guide me in the career because my school counselor was like, well, I don't think you want to go here. You should want to go here. Like, you shouldn't strive for Carolina. You're not going to get into Carolina. And I was like, wow. Now, granted, like, my grades are not where they needed to be yet, but like, to completely
tell you no.
Yeah, tell me no. You know, like, well, you don't want to go there because you should want to major in this. Like, oh, you're great at public speaking. I thought you wanted to be a lawyer. I was like, well, maybe I want to be a lawyer, or I might want to be a writer. Like, so, you know, I wanted to be.
Yep.
I wanted to explore, and I think we as adults sometimes take that creativity out of teens because we don't allow them to explore different things. We immediately be like, pick a career, like, or even the career aptitude test. Like, you know, are they really effective? Are they really impactful? Could they really have like, oh, I took a career aptitude test and it said I was good at digital design.
Gotcha.
So now only thing that's gonna be fed into me for the next 3 years
Is that
is
one?
digital design. But maybe I have a passion for poetry. So talk to me about that. What are some things that, they shove the teaching thing at you, but what were some untapped talents that you had that you did not get to blossom a lot in high school?
So my family in general is like musically inclined. My grandfather, my uncle, they like created their own singing groups. They were in choirs. They played instruments. My mom sang. My mom is a beautiful tambourine player at the church.
That's an
So
art. That's a calling
is,
and an art. Now
'cause I
everybody
can't
can do
do
it.
it
I
like
can't
she
like.
does.
No, that's a yeah. No.
Okay, do it. So everybody in my family was musically inclined. So for me, my brother, to be in band, that was no surprise. I did chorus in like elementary school. That was no surprise to people. But I think so. I used to keep a little notebook in my room, and I used to like write rhymes, right? And I think that was something that I never would have shared with people.
Wow. So you're a lyricist.
Slightly, don't.
Oh, okay. So I mean, can we hear like 8 bars?
8 bars. So
Is that like one? Okay, so clearly I don't know.
I don't count bars.
Oh,
and
okay.
See, and that's where I say, like, if I would,
Because you're out the box.
So if somebody were to say 8 bars, 16, I'd look at these words on a page and be like, well, what is that?
Is that the word? Is that the title of the song?
When
8
do I
bars.
stop? When do So, and I kind of told you before this started, I do songs about when I was a teacher. I used to write songs about whatever it was I taught. So I'm gonna do my favorite / one of the kids' favorites.
Yes.
It's about World War I. So now I'm nervous.
A rhyme on World War. Okay, I'm here for it.
So the whole song is like causes and effects, but I'm just gonna start at the causes part.
Okay.
Militarism, World War I, build an army, pop off with the guns, alliances, gaining friends as they come, shake hands, create a pact, and we done for now. Industrialization, building factories, competition, make them after me. Nationalism, I love my country, start a fight, and I'll go to war for my country. Tensions rise. Oh, I messed up on that part. Anyway.
That was nice though.
So,
but that's your hook. That's how you get them. That's how you get.
And those are the main causes of World War I.
So they can remember that, but then you got them hooked with the rhyme because they're not ever gonna see a teacher like and then a female. So and then you give them the cause so literally like the rest of it where like the hum drum stuff that you have to drill in there.
Yes.
You can always refer back to the rhyme or even challenge them
to
write their own rhyme about the causes and effects. That
which
was
we did.
dope.
Yes.
Dope. So what do you feel would have happened had you had people, adults in your corner in high school that were untapping all of the essences that are you, the aspiring teacher, the aspiring musician, aspiring vocalist, lyricist. Like, what would have happened? The aspiring actresses, you said you did theater arts. Like,
I probably would have been a star by now.
Okay.
My mom always said, like, yeah, you were dramatic enough that you could get on somebody's stage and, like, just start crying in a heartbeat or fall out and faint. Like, I probably would have been a star.
Okay.
I used to say that I was going to go to school to be an actress, those types of things. But I still just wonder, like, what would have happened if I would have went with this true creative version of myself.
So next question, do you feel as a teacher in the education field, as an educator, now as an administrator, do you feel that you are living in the purpose that you have been called called to do?
Yes.
Okay.
Even when I was a teacher, I still felt like I was living in my calling, which is why I still pull those different types of things that I love to do into what I was doing at that time. I like to express myself through like dress and what I put on. And even as an administrator, I'm walking into school and the first thing people want to see is like, oh, well, what shoes does she have on today? Or what crazy little top did she find in a thrift store? So they still see my art, but now the art that I'm displaying is just like a visual art and what I have on.
Okay, let's talk about that. So one interesting thing I liked about your TikTok page is that some weeks you have your outfit of the day. Hashtag
OOTD.
Yeah, OOTD.
Yes.
See, I'm not.
She's getting there.
Just got on last week. So yeah, we'll pray for me.
Mm-hmm.
So talk about how you use all your different facets, creatively, excuse me, to propel and give more foundation to your purpose and calling in education.
So TikTok honestly was just like a fun outlet for me.
Okay.
But when I first started TikTok, to me, I say there's so many different avenues. Every human being on this earth has a avenue on TikTok. But when I got up there, somehow the teacher content started like catering or gearing towards what I was looking at. So that, seeing how, like teachers were like teaching in their classroom, playing review games with kids, I didn't necessarily want to do that. If you notice, my TikTok displays 0 kids whatsoever, but I was just like, how can I like make TikTok fun for me? And voiceovers was like the first thing that I started. I love watching shows like Housewives of Atlanta. I think they have some of the most classic voiceovers ever. So I would do like a mockery of something that they were doing. And then now I'm thinking of, this voiceover that I just heard, how can I make that fit something that teachers might be going through? So then that's when I started to integrate that. I did notice when the pandemic hit, for some reason, I always wore like nice sneakers and shoes, but I really started to get into like tennis shoes like Nikes, Adidas, that type of stuff when the pandemic hit. So at that point is when I was just like, I love to put socks on. So it's just like, let me show what socks I have on with the sneakers that I have on. So,
okay.
And then it just started to blossom from there.
Okay.
Yes.
How many followers do you currently have?
I do not know. I know.
Or is that not something that really concerns you?
I try not to make it concern me, because if I'm truly putting content out there that I enjoy myself, I don't care if I get 5 views or 20,000. Okay. So I'm literally like just putting it out there. Now that does not mean that I'm not like looking. I joke with my brother. I was just like, I think I might have 800 or so at this point, because I told somebody that I wanted to get to 1,000 followers by the end of the year.
Okay.
So by the end of December.
Okay.
So yeah.
Well, you got one. Yeah, I followed you.
I know, and I'm getting up there.
So let's go back to, I really want to touch on, because you hit something where you said your school counselor wasn't the most supportive. Mm-hmm. How can we as adults be more supportive of our high schoolers, our teens, our middle schoolers, even our elementary babies? Yeah. How can we be more supportive of, believing in there when I grow up? Because I interviewed a lot of people, and I asked them, what do you want to be when you grow up? One person said, I had no idea. Mm-hmm. One person said, a teacher, and I'm a teacher. One person said, I'm an engineer, but I'm working at Whole Foods.
Gotcha.
One person said, well, I'm in school to be what I want to be. Mm-hmm. But then when I asked them the follow-up question, do you feel that what you want to be is what you were purposed and called to be? And they were like, And then when I further asked them, how were you helped along the way to, cultivate this passion for this career in elementary, middle school, and high school? And a lot of them said they just knew that's what they wanted. So what did you want to be when you grew up?
I actually wanted to be an engineer when I was in high school.
I wanted to be a teacher.
When I wanted to grow up, I wanted to be a model, a fashion designer, a singer, an athlete. I wanted to do everything.
So I actually just graduated high school last year, and I've always wanted to be a teacher.
So thinking back, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a nurse. That's what I wanted to be when I was a little girl.
So for me, it went in different stages. When I was my youngest, that I can remember that I aspired to be something. It was an ice skater. I was probably 5, maybe 6, watching Michelle Kwan and like Christy Yamaguchi, and just gliding through the hallway, wishing I was an ice skater. But,
I wanted to be a basketball.
Okay. Was that elementary school,
That was
middle school?
elementary school and then middle school.
Well, the first one was a Hooters girl. I just thought it was cute and I wanted to do it.
Probably an art therapist. Yeah, for kids. I still want to do that now.
As well?
For some reason, even now, I'm just always good with coming up with creative ideas, and I've always wanted to make things, be able to do things without me having to do the hard work. So
I knew I wanted to be a therapist, and I was like, well, I want to use some of my natural talents to use and actually use them in life. So I was like, well, I can put art and therapy together, and then still be fun.
I wanted to be an airplane pilot.
Nice. Why did you want to do that field?
Because I like people and I could meet all the people in all the places and make money.
I think that I had a great medical career teacher, but with that, it wasn't really something that would have pushed me to do anesthesiology. It was more like in-home health, doing like nurse aid work, going to Kindred Hospital, helping them. But I think the lack of support from not necessarily the educators, but maybe like at home, just not wanting to see me go out of state, college, or advance myself into exploring those types of opportunities. I think that's what kept me here.
All of my high school English teachers, they were like the best. I don't know, it's just English teachers have like a different vibe and aura when you come into the classroom. So I always admire high school teachers, and that's one of them. Maybe one.
So what piece of advice would you give high schoolers today when they are considering what career path they'll take once they graduate from high school?
I feel like they should find something they enjoy doing and maybe see if you can find like a trade or something like that you're good at and go do like the, I guess, 2-year course or whatever and just go straight into the workforce instead of, I guess, 4-year college or something like that. I guess it just depends on like exactly what you want to do.
I would say do what you're good at. Find something that you're good at and do a job that you won't be tired of, or that when you are tired of it, it's still worth it.
Do what makes you happy, not what makes the most money. Because you can have all the money in the world, but you will be miserable and unhappy if it's not a job you want to wake up and do every day.
So we as high schoolers, you and I both know, we got asked, what do I want to be when I grow up? What do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to be when you grow up? In kindergarten, elementary school, we were constantly asked, what do you want me to grow up? And then we had to draw that little funky picture in kindergarten where you, well, actually, you know, you can participate in the poll. Okay. When you were young and you had to draw your pictures in kindergarten, where did you put the sun? On the left side or on the right side of the page?
Probably my left, because I'm left-handed. I just feel like it had to have been on the left side.
I did mine on the right.
With the M's as the birds.
Yes, and then as the clouds, and you have the sun with the 5 dashes. You could have more than 5. Anyway, I don't know why I was asked to draw a picture of when I grow up, and I put a sun in the upper right or left hand corner, along with my profession. Well, I said all that to say we sometimes we ask our children, our teenagers, what do you want to be when you grow up? And now what career do you want to do once you graduate high school? But that's the only W we ask. We don't really ask the where, or actually after the what. Did anybody ask you why?
Ooh, never. Wow, that's good. Okay.
So yeah, talk about finding the why. Because we hear of a lot of students now taking gap years.
Yeah.
Taking that year off post high school to figure out what they want to be. But is a gap year? Maybe they didn't need a gap year if they would have been asked the why. What do you think about it?
I think that's good. Yeah, the why I think is so. I feel like if we were to poll 20 people right now, all 20 would of course say what.
Yes.
But I might estimate that half of them have a why.
Mm.
That's genuine, right? Because some people will be like, oh, I want to be an engineer because they get paid a lot of money. I'm the first to tell students, don't chase money.
Thanks.
Like, don't chase it.
Facts.
So,
Okay. You hear that? Don't chase money.
Mm-mm. It's not worth it.
Don't chase money.
So
Period.
I think, that why is that hard, tough question?
Right. I wonder because in high school, what I wanted to be when I grew up, I wanted to be a lawyer because I love talking, and then I wanted to be president of the United States. Then I wanted to be a writer. Never said I wanted to be a teacher. It was always a lawyer, something in politics, president of the United States, and a writer. Always, always. But nobody ever asked me
Why?
I think might have been one person, my local choir. I was in a local choir, Mountain View Youth Choir, and she had, why do you want to be a lawyer? And I got stumped a little bit, like.
That's good.
Like now to this day she's like, I still want you to be a lawyer. I'm mad that you're not a lawyer. I was like, hey, take it up with him. Like I had nothing to do with that.
It's true.
But I wonder, we don't ask enough W's after the what. Like, where do you want to do it at?
Right.
When? Or even how are you gonna do it? That part right there, like the why and the how. Talk about the why and the how of growing up.
So, and when you were saying that, it made me even think that I think at that point in time, my senior year, when I was starting to like reject being a teacher, is maybe because I didn't have my why. I had everybody else's why of why they felt I should be a teacher. So
that's good. That's good.
Like, and I think that's the issue that I had, and maybe I couldn't verbalize that until now, like in this moment. But yeah, the why. You said navigating the why and the how.
Yeah.
So. I think it once again starts back with the being in tune first with God, being in tune with yourself, and then asking Him like, why do you want me in these specific places?
Or whoever you espouse to be your spiritual head.
Yes, absolutely. And I think for me, a lot of issues that I was going through at that point in time, I had, of course, a supportive mom. I had a brother. I had a village. My grandparents, my church was extremely supportive growing up. But I just had this why that was bigger than the city and the town that I lived in. And that, I believe, is what I was like trying to reach towards so much. So to me at that point in time, it didn't matter like what college I went to. It was just like whatever college you go to is not going to be in Goldsboro, North Carolina.
Fact, and I think a lot of my why I wanted to be a lawyer, because I knew that being a lawyer would automatically guarantee with 99.9% certainty that I would not have to stay in Morganton, North Carolina. So it didn't matter where I went to school to study to be a lawyer or a writer. What mattered was I was going to do it where?
Right.
Anywhere
outside
but Morganton, North Carolina.
And I think that's a lot of like issues that I feel like high school students are dealing with a lot of times, because of course I taught in Guilford County. I would have kids to say, oh, I'm going to UNCG, I'm going to A&T. And my initial selfish reaction was why? Like, why not go to a school outside of your hometown? But I didn't want to feel like I wasn't supportive of their dreams or supportive of the choices that they were making. But still, like, do you realize that there are other opportunities outside of this city that you live in? I still believe that if I would have grown up in Greensboro, North Carolina, that I would have chosen a school outside of Greensboro.
I find it very surprising that a lot of students that go to Guilford County have lived in Greensboro, High Point all of their lives. They're not two separate cities to me. They're all one, clumped up together. It's all connected by Wendover Avenue.
Yes.
At any rate, I find though they stay home. They'll go to A&T. They'll go to UNCG. They'll go to High Point University or Winston-Salem State. Or if they do go far away, like ECU, they'll eventually
Still come back to
transfer back.
Yes.
Transfer back. And
I
I'm like,
understand.
you didn't want to leave? Like, y'all constantly complaining there ain't nothing to do in Greensboro, but yet
Right.
you want to go to school here. And a lot of my students, I'll be like, well, what do you want to major in? And they'll tell me, where do you want to go? I don't know. Like, oh, I want to go to A&T. What do you want to major in? Political science. Do they have a good political science program?
Okay. And those are the questions that I feel like educators in general like have to be tasked with asking kids. In this generation that they live in, everything is so quick and immediate. I don't think they have time to like sit and actually think about some of these ideas and some certain choices that they might have. So that's a good point, right? So asking them like, does the school even carry your major, right? Some of them just want to go to the school because of the name of it, but they don't know what the GPA requirements are. They don't know how far it is from their hometown. Like realistically, if something happened to you, could your parents fly for 14 hours to come pick you up and bring you back to where you are? So all of that has to be taken into account.
Right, or like you were saying, your why was so much entrenched on other people's opinions that your understanding of your why got diminished. Sometimes school selection can be that. Why are you going to this school? Why are you picking this school? Because my mama, my grandmama, my granddaddy, my great-great-great-granddaddy like went there. Like, so that could be a factor. But yeah, that why and that how, that kind of, as we were talking, I was like, man, like nobody ever asked me why. Nobody asked me how I was going to get it done. Not even how I was going to pay for it. Like, regardless, I was going to get up out of mortgage. So it really didn't matter what I wanted to be when I grew up. And then, rightly so, I got to college, political science. Oh, political science really doesn't have anything to do with you being a lawyer. It's the study of the science of politics.
Yes.
You might want to rethink that.
Right. Yeah, that was a fun class. I took it though. It was actually fun.
But it has nothing to do with being a lawyer. So here I am. So I think my freshman year, I think I changed my major at least 4 times. I think in my time at Western, I was a political science major. Then I was a political science English major because my advisor said, oh, most lawyers major in English. So major in political science and English. So then I was a double major. Then I dropped the political science. So then I did criminal justice in English. Then I dropped the criminal justice.
Something about that English.
Right. Kept the English, dropped the criminal justice, then did business administration and law. And that's where it ended up. And by that time, I was a senior. I was just ready to be done. I just wanted my degree at this point. Still wanted to be a lawyer. I just was ready to be done. So dropped the BA law and then finished.
That's a journey.
In English. Right. And I wonder if I really would have been asked why.
Yeah.
After the what, been asked the why. Could I have saved myself A, a lot of dollars, because those loans are serious, and B, time and stress. I mean, because think about the classes that I took that I wasted. I literally have an entire degree in business administration and law. I'm one class short and never finished it.
Wow.
Because I was ready to be done.
Wow. And see, that's what we gotta urge kids to not get to that point where you do like, okay, well, let me just do this so I can be finished. Because then it's actually true calling.
Because I really wonder how many, if we polled college graduates, how many of them are really have a actual major degree. Like, I got a degree. What are you doing with the degree? Are you satisfied with the degree that you have? Do you see do you see yourself, are you in a career field with that degree? Because if you majored in marketing, but you're marketing, you're doing something totally.
I used to work
was that because you didn't get asked your why, and you didn't get asked, and you didn't have someone develop a how for you? Like, I'm sorry, I'm stuck on this. I think we might have cracked something. Like the why and the how is just as important.
That's true.
As the what. Almost forget the what.
Yeah.
I mean, the what is just 5%.
That's true.
It's the, I'm on that. I'm sorry.
Okay. that reminded me of a job I used to work in college. I started my freshman and sophomore year. This was a job I used to cry to every single day. I had to like walk there. It was on campus. So I remember one time I was like walking there crying down the street. Somebody stopped and was like, "Are you okay?" No, I'm just headed to work. But that job, it was like a calling center, and we literally had to call alumni, build a rapport with them, and then ask them to donate money to the school. And I kid you not, the reason why it was so like disheartening to work that job is 90% of the people that we called and spoke to, well, I'm not even doing anything in my major. Why would I give something back to the school?
Facts. Say less.
Sorry, I can't help that. I'm literally like 19 years old, sir. I'm sorry you're 45 and you haven't found a job in your major yet.
Not 45 with no major in your job. No job in your major.
Literally, that was the worst part of that job. So yeah, I believe it. There's so many people out there and then to this extent though, there's some people out there who are doing the complete opposite, but they are fulfilled. So you still got both sides of the spectrum. This person that thought, oh, I should have been, a doctor, and here I am still stuck as an NA. Like, what am I doing in my life? But then you have that one person that's like, well, I went to school to be a teacher, but now I'm a music production artist. And yes, I'm fulfilled every single day.
But they went to school for something they thought they wanted to be, and then later realized that wasn't it and found a new. So was the true purpose and their true why the music production? It just, but their why was diminished or watered down, similar to yours. Like,
well,
it's just for you, your why, you were resistant to it, but later you couldn't avoid it.
Right. It was inevitable.
But
and
yeah.
I literally wake up every day like, if I didn't wake up and go to a school, I don't know what I would do in my life.
People asking like, if you blow up, like if you win the lottery, you win $1 million, are you still gonna teach? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna work every day. Well, I might just be a horrible worker, but I will work every day.
I would still.
I'd be like, you know what? I ain't
You know
coming
what?
today.
I would still come in. I would still work.
Oh.
Still work. Like still Miss Winsley. Like still like neck, like knee on
That's
your
real.
neck.
That's real.
Like because it's. Or if I wasn't teaching in the classroom, I still find a way to teach.
Yeah, you have to.
Like it's almost like it's in me. Like
Yes.
it has to come out, period.
Right.
And I think like it's almost like what is that one thing within you that just has to come out? Like maybe we should be asking our kids, that and not, but yeah, that's a really good. So
Your gift to the world.
yeah, that part. What do you want to be your gift to the world? That's an excellent. That's a great question. I think that's how we ended.
Yes.
Like when you're thinking about your career, like what do you want to be your gift to the world? What do you want to be the lasting memory? A lot of Shakespearean and Italian sonnets talk about the fact that their words are going to be immortal, even when they're long and gone.
Well,
How do you leave an immortal mark on the world? Boom.
that's good.
So last thing, I know, right? Like sometimes I be coming out ooh
On the ground.
and then other times I'm corny. So it's all good. It's a balance.
We take both.
Yeah, I love both sides of me. So last thing, and looking at the camera, what do you want to leave to the generation coming up behind you as it relates to adulting and being grown? Close us out.
Ooh, that's a hard question. The gift that I want to leave to every single young adult is don't be afraid to be who you are. Be the boss that you are, be the tall black woman that you are, be the woman with the dreadlocks, whatever people perceive you as, be that and more. That's it.
I like that. That is
And
definitely.
that was even a message to myself, right?
Sometimes you gotta encourage yourself, but that was definitely soundbite city. Soundbite city right there. So that will definitely be a soundbite for it. Okay, guys, that's it. That is episode 1. Yes. Of I'm Grown.
Yes.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Hey, if you still are watching, still listening, props out to you. Please make sure that you catch us on episode 2. And yeah, that's all I got. So thank you. Stay true to who you are. Reach for the stars. And what gift are you going to leave to the world? All right. See you next time.
What's good? Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you learned something, and I hope you had fun watching it, just as much fun as I had making it. Make sure you tune in next week for a new video, and hey, go ahead and like, share, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Adios.